A witch's problems. It was a dark, dark night in the town graveyard where a witch's home was. As you know, witches don't often live in graveyards. This one does. Graveyards are where poor witches live, as it's quite a squeeze inside. This one is a rather poor witch. In the graveyard lives Wilma and her cat, Mitty. 25-year-old Wilma has a witchy hat, witchy hair and witchy clothes, but not a witchy face or heart. Right now she tripped over the laundry basket. The dirty clothes mixed with the clean ones, and she didn't know which one was which. "Oh, rat!" exclaimed Wilma, causing Mitty to look around for the rodent. "It'll be better if I had better clothes, won't it, Mitt? I do like fashion, but these silly witch rules never allow us to buy them. I can't even tell my dirty dresses from my clean. And I'm sick of cauldron food too. Soup, soup all day." The cauldron, which was cooking soup, hissed and lurched. "No, I don't mean I dislike you, cauldron," explained Wilma hurriedly. "It's just that I would like to try some burgers, if witch rules allow me, of course." "Well, maybe I'm not suitable for being a witch. I barely got into Mini Witch Academy because my face was too round, and I never fully mastered witch cackles, even to this day. I didn't graduate from witch middle school, and I'm only considered a half-witch." Mitty pawed at the trapdoor and meowed. "We can't, Mitty," said Wilma. "It's impossible to go into town. There are witch police everywhere." She pointed to a tiny cloud with a broomstick poking through and witch feet dangling under it. It was a strange sight. "But maybe we can," faltered Wilma. That night, when the witch police were getting groggy, the shadow of a witch, a cat, and their luggage fell onto the graveyard. Silently, they entered a small alley where they spent their night. The next day, Wilma and Mitty awoke exhausted. They had an unpleasant night, even with Wilma's comfort spell. Remember, she's a witch. She knows spells. Wilma took off her hat and smoothed down her hair, an attempt to make herself look less witchy. People hated witches. "Well, now I need a job, or at least a place to sleep in," said Wilma as she walked into Creek Inn. A young girl was reading the news inside, and the headline made Wilma shudder. The girl looked up and studied Wilma closely. She asked, "Tell me, are you Wilma?" But Wilma was as flabbergasted as a witch could be. "I saw your name on a gravestone, and you look like a witch," said the girl. "So, what brings you here?" Wilma began to tell her tale. Soon, the words were flooding out of her mouth. She felt better after telling. At last, the girl spoke up. "Well, if you're needing a home and a job, you're in the right place. I'm Katie, by the way." Smiling, she handed Wilma a room key. Wilma couldn't believe it. Someone was happy to take in a witch. What luck she had! Katie found Wilma surprisingly useful for jobs in the inn. When told to vacuum the rug, she would use spells to suck the dust out instead. Wilma finally realized that the seemingly useless spells taught at witch school were more than enough to clean a room. Even with her cleaning spell, Wilma found it hard to keep up with the room renting. Katy suggested, "Why not cook for the guests at the inn?" "Of course," said Wilma with a smile. "I'll wake up the little spirits into pots and pans with a spell. It makes cooking much easier." "So, Katy, are your pans trained?" Katy was bemused. "How do you train a pan?" "Well, we would just train the spirits in them. They make sure the food isn't burnt, and we can read our magazines while they cook," said Wilma as she turned on the stove to test the pans. Apparently they weren't. The pans lurched and hopped, nearly ruining the diced carrots and soup. But Wilma had been a part-time cauldron trainer before, and this was no problem. Soon she could read a book while the pans fried bacon. Katy was delighted. Wilma decided to buy some new clothes because she looked like she was going to a funeral in witch clothing. She couldn't believe how she looked with a new dress and a handbag. They weren't the most colorful of garments, but they made her feel like a rainbow. Oh, how glorious to be a witch in town! With her magic, Wilma quickly got a raise. She also became Katy's friend. They would take walks on days, and Wilma would admire the views. Much more colorful than the graveyard sites. Compared to witch life, this is heaven. One day, Wilma wrote a letter to every witch in the state, which wasn't that much, on witchy mail. "I'll tell them to come to Creakin and live here. Life here is great." Minnie gave a meow that meant, "What about the witch police? Won't they catch you?" "Wait until they see life here. They'll change their mind." As the clock on her table ticked to midnight, Wilma walked to the window and glanced. Two witchy silhouettes were circling the town, searching for something. Wilma flicked her lamp on and off 4 times. A witch signal. "You've got new helpers, Katy," she thought. Every day, more witches came to Creek Inn. Some rented cottages nearby. There were old witches and young witches, textbook witches and witches less witchy than Wilma, witches that love ice cream and witches that, well, it seems that all witches love ice cream. Katy was delighted to have new witch helpers. Now with 5 witches in her place, chores were no more than a command to brooms and pots. She had time to read magazines and knit decorations for her inn. So, dear readers, if you ever come across Creakin, remember to have a meal there, if not stay in. It's always bustling, with 6 ladies around. I am sure you'll see a lady with red hair and a grey cat. Take a good look at her and tell yourself that she's the first witch to move into the human world.